Those of you for whom it's not your first time, you know that since we're sitting this way, we're going to be doing some standing practice today. And for the rest of you, if you are new, please do ask questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about your personal meditation practice. So during the open Q&As, I answer all sorts of questions of any kind, but during this class, just meditation questions. And if no questions come in, usually what I do is just ramble on about whatever's going on with the channel until we've hit about 15, 20 minutes into the stream, and then we do some practice together. So since I don't see any questions coming in, I'll go ahead and ramble a little bit. So I've been talking with Neil pretty much non-stop since we got done with the live stream. I know some of you wanted to watch that or started watching it and put it on pause to come back later and it disappeared. That's because I'm editing it now and I'm adding overlays and getting rid of some of the air gaps and making it a little bit more interesting, and then it'll be re-uploaded. And also, I've been talking to Neil, and we've decided to go ahead, way ahead of schedule, getting the Lohan course up and running. So I actually spent the last 15, 16 hours or so doing nothing but building the website for that course. So now I'm mostly just waiting on Neil to film the first seven portions of the new course, which would be rolling out to new students who wanted to join that course on a weekly basis. So there would always be a little bit of time for him to record the next 7 items and stay ahead of the people who are in the course. But yeah, probably within the next week, I would imagine, we're going to be rolling forward with the Shaolin Lohan course, which will have essentially those of you who have been looking for a physical discipline to go along with your meditation practice and considering various Hindu yogas and so on and so forth. This will provide you with a Buddhist alternative to those types of practices. So Lohan is a type of, become aware of a specific body part. Yes, I'll circle right back to that. So Lohan Palm in particular is a system where you train your body, and it has martial aspects as well, but you also train the body in a particular way so that it becomes better for sitting in meditation and better for day-to-day healthy movements of the body, for maintaining your longevity so that your body will remain functional and healthy and capable into old age. And therefore you can do your practice for a longer period of time as long as you don't get hit by a bus or eat too unhealthy, right? So in addition to that, it has what might be called Qigong and Neigong elements as well, where you learn how to work with the subtler components that make up your body, like Qi and so forth. And then finally, it has meditative aspects, including things like visualization, I think some mantra, and some mudra practices and so forth. So it has all of the bells and whistles, you might say, of the great yogis of India and China, trying to give you absolutely every advantage possible in making progress in your practice. So very, very interesting, very sophisticated system. And for those of you who'd like something sort of Buddhist-y to have as the physical component of your practice, since I don't teach those elements, and since some of you may also be looking for an energetic practice like a Qigong or a Neigong to go along with your practice, and since I don't teach those, Neil, to me, seemed like the perfect partner in my endeavors because Lohan has all of those elements. You've got your physical discipline, your Qi discipline, your Shen discipline, and therefore you've taken care of the rest of the system, the rest of the body-mind system that I'm not dealing with very much in the things that I teach. So hopefully that'll be out in about a week, maybe less if we're lucky. And I think what I'll do is relaunch that particular episode of the podcast when that course is out and ready so that people can go straight from the podcast to the course if they're interested. Okay, that's the announcement for the day. Now, Oates is asking, if I can talk about what I mean by become aware of a specific body part. Okay. So when I say become aware of something, what I mean is, for example, if you take your mind and you put it into your pointer finger, that first few seconds where you haven't yet tried to figure anything out, you haven't yet tried to analyze what's going on in the finger, or you haven't yet decided really whether or not how you're going to react to the sensations you feel there. Most of them are probably neutral, just feelings of movement or tingling or whatever. So when I say become aware of that part of the body, this is what I mean. That you become aware of the actual tactile sensations in that part of the body. That's it. You can also do that practice if you're trying to make the body more comfortable. You can also do that practice where you become aware of that body part and ask it to release or relax, and then move to the next part and ask it to release and relax. You can do that. I think I recommend that somewhere else, perhaps in the course materials as well. But you don't have to do it that way. The primary practice is just becoming aware and getting your full awareness to whatever degree you can into that part of the body without analyzing, without visualizing, without trying to figure anything out. Does that make sense? So think about your training in meditation right now. Before you're doing Mahamudra style practices where you're becoming aware of, for example, by way of analogy, the entire screen. When you become aware of the entire screen of vision, for example, this is one aspect of training in Mahamudra practice. Oh, yes, yes. So when you're doing a body scan, it's almost like you have a camera and you look at the sensations in the foot or let's say the toes, and then you move the camera and you look at the sensations in the foot, the arch. Then you move the camera and look at the sensations in the heel, move the camera and look at the sensations in the ankle, and so on and so forth. So generally speaking, you let go of each part as you go along. You're just being aware of the part that I'm naming. There are some exceptions to this, but generally speaking, yes, that's what you're doing. If you're doing 5 points, you're becoming aware of 5 different parts, and there should be a little bit of awareness connecting each part, right? It doesn't have to be super strong, but you want to try to. You're actually with 5 points, you're spreading the awareness through the whole body. But since you can't do that right away, you focus on 5 points that are really far away from each other inside the body. Yeah, yeah. So doing body scanning is like pressure washing. You're looking inside the body, and inside the body, you're going to find sensations you don't like. You're going to find tension. You're going to find all sorts of things that you didn't expect to be there. And simply by placing a huge amount of awareness on that part of the body, you're washing that part of the body and making it clean in your awareness. In the sense that your awareness no longer minds whatever it is that's appearing there. Your mind isn't getting stuck on that part of the body, whether it's pleasurable or painful or boring. So your mind is learning how to bring a huge amount of attention in a way that it normally wouldn't into that part, and then move that awareness over to the next part and become aware of that part. you see? And this has the effect of giving your nervous system a power wash. Makes your mind very calm, makes the body much more comfortable. Even if you're not trying to release tension in the body, it tends to release tension in the body. Generally, when I'm giving the instructions, I'll say, go to the toe, go to the ball, go to the arch, go to the heel, and so on and so forth. And what I mean is that the camera is coming with you, the camera of the awareness. When I say, for example, with the directions, be aware of the front, don't lose that, be aware of the back, then you're dividing it and being aware of both, right? Or if I said, become aware of the foot, stretch your awareness to the hip and be aware of the right leg, then obviously you're going to be aware of everything from the foot to the hip, right? So depending on what we're doing in that particular session, you're going to change a little bit what you're up to in terms of what you're doing inside the body. But generally speaking, a body scan, you're taking a huge amount of awareness and you're packing it into a small area and then letting it rest in that area for a little while and then moving to the next place and letting it rest there for a little while and so on and so forth. And like I said, this has the effect of giving your whole nervous system a little bit of a wash, a little bit of a cleanup. Okay. Are there any more questions before we begin? Okay, we're going to start seated and move to standing. So set your posture. Place the awareness on the inside of one of the nostrils, whichever nostril has the most sensations as you breathe in and out. You're going to place it there with great force and count your breath from 1 to 7, 7 to 0. Between all the other numbers, don't move the body. Keep as much intensity of awareness of that patch of skin and the counting as you can without letting the mind do anything else. If you find the mind is doing absolutely anything else besides counting or being aware of those tactile sensations in the nostril, then you have lost the object of meditation. So this should be great struggle, great intensity, because this is very difficult to do. Bring the awareness to that patch of skin. 3, 2, 1, begin. Okay, come to a standing position. If you're not comfortable doing body scanning in a standing position, then remain seated. Bring the awareness to the feet, ankles, lower calves, upper calves, knees, lower thighs, upper thighs, front of the hips, back of the hips, sacrum, tailbone, anus, perineum, and your sexual organ. Come to rest at the tip, front of the waist, back of the waist, front of the diaphragm belt, back of the diaphragm belt, front of the chest, back of the chest, top of the left shoulder, left, front, left, back, armpit, bicep, elbow, forearm, wrist, palm, and the back of your hand, thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky, top of the right shoulder, front, right side, back, armpit, bicep, elbow, forearm, wrist, palm, and the back of your hand, thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky, the lower third of your neck, middle third, upper third, into the joint between the skull and the neck, back of the skull, left side, right side, right ear, left ear, forehead, left eyebrow, left eye, right eyebrow, right eye, nose, left cheek, right cheek, lip, lower lip and chin, top lip, bottom lip, the skin inside your mouth, teeth, roof of your mouth, underneath your tongue, and your tongue. Slide the awareness from the tip of the tongue to the throat. Slide the awareness again from the throat up to the top of the head. Now stretch the awareness down from the top of the head, wherever the most sensitive point is, to both hands. Stretch the awareness down again from the top of the head to both feet. Hold the 5 points. If you can't do all 5, then just hold either head and hands or head and feet. Some of you may be feeling burning sensations or tingling or pins and needles in the legs. That's totally normal. As long as those sensations go away within 5 minutes or so of finishing the session, it's totally normal and okay. If you have lingering pain after a session of standing, then there may be something wrong with how you're standing. Your posture may not be correct. Or it may just be that you've been standing so long throughout the course of your life in a posture that's not good that your body now has to readjust to a posture that's better. So as long as an injury is not building up, just deal with the discomfort. Discomfort is part of being alive. Five points: head, hands, feet. Now transition into walking meditation. Don't shake your legs out. Just transition into walking, holding the 5 points. If you need to move this slow, then move this slow. But maintain the awareness of the 5 points with the same degree of intensity that you had while standing. If you notice your mind has lost the 5 points, stop in place wherever you happen to be. Reestablish the awareness of all 5 points. And then begin again. Okay, return to standing. I think at least a few of you have done opening the visual sense gate with me. We're going to do part of that practice standing. So set your posture again. Point the gaze forward. Point the gaze forward. Place the awareness in such a state that you are gazing but not looking. You're not selecting a particular object in front of you, you're just resting the eyes pointing to the front. It's okay to blink, but don't move the eyes from the position that they're in. They should stay pointed exactly the same direction as they are right now for the duration of the practice. So if you take a tour around the peripheral vision, you'll notice that you can see, without moving the eyes, you can sort of swim almost like a little fish inside the pool or the pond of your visual awareness. And you can swim around to the top and you can see the top. You can swim to the bottom and see the bottom. You can swim to the left. You can swim to the right. You can swim forward to whatever is pointed sort of right in front of you. And you can swim backwards to see what is closest to the field of vision. So first bring the awareness to the front. Just what's in the center of the vision to the front. And then let that go and swim backwards and see what I call back, for reasons that will become clear later on in the practice. That's going to be what's closest to the vision. Your nose, your eye sockets, eyebrows, the top of your cheeks, whatever you can see closest to the vision. And let that go. Swim as far as you can to the left. And since your concentration is probably okay, since we've already been working on it today, your vision may be getting a little weird. You're not going blind, and it's totally normal to see geometric shapes, to see white light, to see gold light, to lose clarity of vision. It doesn't matter. You're not looking at anything in the visual field. You're observing the field itself. So it doesn't matter what appears in the field. It matters what you're doing with your awareness. So swim the attention to the left. Swim the attention to the right. Swim the attention up. And swim the attention down. Now we're going to combine directions. Become aware of the front and the back. So that's going to be the whole middle tunnel of the vision, without looking at any object in particular. Just become aware of the entire center of the vision, which is everything that's in front of you and everything that's really close to your eyes. Without losing that, become aware of left and right. And without losing that, become aware of up and down. As best you can, hold all 6 directions open. Front, back, left, right, up, down. If that's too much, scale the awareness back to left, right, up, down. Now, just like we did with the tactile sphere of awareness, do your best. Once again, standing still for now, point your eyes to the right and don't lose front, back, left, right, up, down. Keep the entire visual field open in the way that it is, but move your eyes, just your eyes, to the right. Move the eyes back to the front, move them to the left. Move them back to the front. Now, hopefully you had some success keeping the visual field open while the visual field was changing. If that was already way too hard, then just carry on with that exercise of moving the eyes to the left and the right, and then reopening or reestablishing the entire visual field as the object of awareness. If this is going okay, then proceed on to walking meditation. So just like with the other practice, You can keep about 20% of your awareness in the tactile body so that you don't fall over, but put the other 80% into vision and try to keep either four directions, up, down, left, right, or all six directions fully open while you walk. Okay, return to your seated position. All right, everyone. Hey, Abhishek. So in this class, I try to keep questions about your personal practice. I do an open Q&A where I just answer whatever questions people have, but in this class, I try to keep it related to your personal seated practices that you're doing from day to day. That being said, in the Buddhist canon, there's more than one example of someone who committed great misdeeds in a single lifetime, attaining realizations. So that's entirely possible. Milarepa is an example from Tibetan history. He was a murderer, and Angulimala was a serial killer at the time of the Buddha. And the statements that are made about Angulimala are quite striking. Angulimala was known to kill entire villages. The canon says he turned villages into non-villages. So he achieved nirvana in a single life, if my memory serves. So we've got no excuse. Nope, there shouldn't be a limit. And in fact, in the tantras, one of the things you see quite often is is a symbolic representation of them holding a particular type of figure, and that figure is representing a person who has fallen into the lowest type of existence. And the reason that they're holding that figure is because there are techniques, there are certain things that you can't get over in a single lifetime from a sutra perspective, but there are techniques that are much more powerful from a tantric perspective that can help you even if you do the worst possible thing. Okay. So, Abhishek, try if you can to keep the questions related to your personal practice, since this is a meditation class, not the open Q&A. All right, my friends, because I'm working quite hard to get, oh, AI, because I'm working quite hard to get the website up with Neil Ripsky so that you'll all have access to Lohan if you'd like to do those practices. And I'm also getting ready to do some research for the next piece of content that'll be going up. I think I'll call it a night, if you don't mind. Please do, on your way out the door. If you do hit the like button, more people will find this after the fact. That can be quite helpful. Also, as some of you already know, I teach all this stuff for free. So in order to do this for free for everyone else, I do require sponsorship, donations from the community. So if you're finding these teachings valuable and you haven't contributed, you can contribute using one of the links below, or you can become a member on YouTube, or if you'd like to go the more hardcore route, for people that are quite serious about training with me and want to go quite a bit deeper than we go in these classes, I have a school course down below. And as usual, all of those materials are also available without a paywall, but I'm building a community there of people who are all training in the same techniques, and those people are supporting each other as time goes on in getting better and better at those particular techniques. So if you're not part of that community and you want to take this a bit more seriously, that's a wonderful way to support me and support the community. Uh, yeah. Well, so just to sort of wrap up the question from Abhishek, since no other questions came in, basically, from a Buddhist standpoint, your mind is fundamentally pure, and it's your mind that's going to attain awakening, not anything, well, maybe a few other things are coming along with you, but your mind is the thing attaining awakening. So there's nobody who can't do this. There are certain things you could do that will really slow you down because they're headed the wrong way. But ultimately, there's nothing that can stop you if you're headed the right way. There's nothing that can stop you. There are things that can slow you down, but there's nothing that can stop you. Of course, you have to give up all of those misdeeds. You have to give up killing people and whatever else you're doing. If you're hurting other people, by the way, whether you're Buddhist or not, if you hurt other people, your life is going to be chaotic, and you will be less happy because you're harming all those people. If you hurt other people, their friends, their family, their allies, they come back to haunt you. And then you have to worry about all these other people who are going to try to harm you. This is why it doesn't matter if you're Buddhist or not, you need to have good character. If you have bad character, people won't trust you, you'll have less opportunities, your relationships won't be as stable, and people are going to try to hurt you when they have a chance. They don't want to see you succeed. If you have bad character and you're hurting other people, there's going to be a bunch of people around you that want to see you fail. Now, there's no way to have everybody rooting for you, but the better your character is, the more people want to see you succeed. That has nothing to do with being Buddhist, it's just true. So if you want to have a nice life, have good character. Be a gentleman. Be a gentlewoman. Be a real human being. Be a productive member of society. Be a good neighbor. So consciousness from a Buddhist perspective is what I'm talking about is your fundamental consciousness. So today we were looking at Mahamudra practice to reel it back in, and we were accessing the nature of visual awareness and the nature of tactile awareness. So these are things you can actually look at. You don't have to take the Buddha's words for it. In fact, taking the Buddha's word for it won't help that much. You need to actually look at it yourself and see that this is how it is, or not. It's open to your experience. You don't have to believe anybody at the end of the day. What you have to do is put in the work and see if what we're saying is true or not. And why would you want to do that? Because it makes you better. It makes your mind sharper. It makes you get more of what you actually want out of this life. And if it turns out there's a next life, it helps you. It helps you when you are headed to the next existence. Isn't it true that if your mind is less chaotic, it's easier to decide what to do? When your mind is calm, it's easier to see what the correct course of action is. When your mind is distracted and filled with negative emotions and unstable, it's uncomfortable. When your mind isn't like that, it's more comfortable. So again, this isn't something that's true because the Buddhists say it's true. It's something that's true because when you look at human beings, that's how it is. And even if you've killed someone, it's possible that you can train your mind in this lifetime and accomplish an internal state that's worth having. It's possible you can accomplish good character. And that's something worth doing, whether or not what the Buddha said is true or not. That's true because the world will be better for you if you do it. And then, like I said, if it turns out that the Buddha was right about all of this, then you've killed two birds with one stone. Okay. So Dylan asked before he deleted the comment, he asked if meditation can lead you the wrong way. Yeah, it can. I mean, if you're not doing meditation properly, it can lead you the wrong way. There's not a whole lot of danger with that, with the techniques I'm teaching, because if you actually follow the instructions that I'm giving, it'll take you the right way. If you don't listen to the instructions and do it some weird way that you're making up yourself, it probably won't do anything at all because like unless you have a lot of force of mind, you can't make anything happen anyway. So it's a pretty low risk activity. I mean, it might make you more deluded as a person. There are plenty of people in the modern mindfulness scene, but not according to me, according to cognitive psychology. There was a study that was done, and they were shocked to find out that mindfulness can make you much more arrogant. Mindfulness by itself, becoming more aware of yourself, doesn't make you less arrogant or proud. And it doesn't make you more generous, much to their surprise and horror. And it's not actually necessarily the case that it makes you more empathetic of others. So according to all the Buddhist systems, you have to train in all of this other stuff independently. It doesn't just happen because you're training your mind. So it is possible to gain concentration and get a more powerful mind and then use that mind to go the wrong way. Think, for example, about a sniper in the military who has to fire a bullet a really long distance. A sniper needs really excellent mindfulness to be aware of all of the moving parts that are required for that bullet to hit the target, especially if it's like a mile away. They need to be aware of what's going on with the wind, how all the training on how it is people move, all the training they got on how to set their gun up properly, how to breathe, how to move their body. I mean, from what I understand, being a sniper is quite complicated. It's a very technical operation. So they need a lot of mindfulness. So, when you read the Eightfold Path, it says you need right mindfulness. The Buddha didn't say just like any kind of mindfulness is good. The Buddha said you need the right kind of mindfulness. A thief needs a lot of mindfulness to break into a house and not wake everyone up and to steal everything without getting caught. That's not the right kind of mindfulness. So, yeah, just getting more mindful and just getting more concentrated doesn't necessarily take you in a good direction. But, if you're earnestly striving and you're trying to improve your character and you're trying to have good ethics and so forth, and you're taking steps down the path more generally, then the lineage and the teachers and the mentors and the colleagues on the path, they're sort of like guardrails that keep you from going too far and falling in the gutter, right? That's part of why your community is there. So in regards to your character and training in the path, if you were to be a really good sniper, for example, and you trained in concentration, you got very good at concentration, and you killed a bunch of people during war, and then afterwards you realized that was wrong and you shouldn't kill anybody, even during war, basically. that you certainly, if you were absolutely forced into such a circumstance, that you should have done it in probably a different way than you did. And then you proceeded to use all the skills that you developed, because you have to have some character to be in the military. You have to have some humility, some willpower, some force of mind to do these things that other people, quite often wouldn't even imagine doing, right? So if you take all those good qualities that you've built up, including some of that mindfulness, and you apply it towards training your mind, well, now there's a chance. There's a chance you can make a lot of progress, and maybe even faster progress than a person who doesn't have all those other qualities, because you already have maybe discipline, some humility, some ability to do things when you don't know all the reasons for them yet, right? Soldiers very often don't know all the reasons why they're doing something, but they develop a capability to fully do whatever needs to be done when they're given an order to do it. And yes, of course, you need to think about all this and so forth if you're a trainee, if you're a new person. But some of this stuff comes by just having the discipline to do it and see what happens. So that soldier who has turned the corner, for example, and become a trainee, a real trainee, has a chance to really make it. They can't stay a killer. They can't stay a thief. They can't stay a liar who cons people out of money for a living and travel down the path. Those two things can't live together. So no, there's no danger in describing things in this way, because you do actually have to abandon these things to start walking down the path and carry on down the path. So even if in the past you did really bad things, you have to carry on down the path doing good things, to put it in layman's terms. Okay, my friends, I really should go, but thank you all for being here. I hope to see you again very soon.